Hello and welcome to Powered Up Festival, organised and hosted by Ideas Powered. Now, if you're looking to break into the world of product design, this is the session that you've been waiting for. As today we're joined by award-winning designer Julie Conrad. Now, Julie's work has taken her across the world from Paris to the US and beyond. But now she's back in her native Luxembourg, where she owns and manages her own design studio, which focuses on furniture, accessories, and studio design, as you can see from some of the images that we're displaying on the screen now. Now, I am absolutely delighted to say that Julie joins us live from Luxembourg. I can bring her in now. Julie, welcome to Powered Up Festival. How are you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Delighted to have you here. I know that this is a really exciting session for a lot of our followers because we've got loads of followers who are keen hobbyists in design and a lot of students who are looking to break into the industry. So a lot of them want to follow in your footsteps. So I guess we should start by finding out how do you go from having a general interest in design to ending up managing your own studio?
So, yeah, I don't know. It was quite a natural development. I would say that I've always been interested in design without really knowing it. I mean, as a kid, I was very crafty. I was always drawing and knitting, and I loved to build stuff. And mostly, I like to take things apart and then try to put them back together just to see how it worked. Of course, I didn't always manage, but that's the beauty of it. And then just to understand, and so that can really lead to working in design afterwards. And I just wasn't aware of it. So I accidentally stumbled upon this then and understood that this could be a career and this could be something I could be doing. And so I went off to Paris on this very intense journey of studying design. And I did a lot of internships, as many as I could. And then, yeah, developed my style and really was looking for where my heart would be in design, what it would be exactly. And then after my studies, I set up my design studio right away. And yeah, that was 8 years ago, and here we are now.
Well, time flies.
Yeah.
It's been quite an intense 8 years by the sound of things. So you should be proud that you've got this far. I want to dive a little bit into your creative process because this is something that we've had a lot of questions in about. When you have an initial idea for a design, how do you go about then bringing it to life? So from prototyping to brainstorming, what's the process and how do you generally go about it?
hmm Yeah, we do a lot of very different projects. So we have our own product lines as well as products for clients. And these range from small things like a watch, yeah, this one, to bags made from reclaimed tarpaulin, to furniture, to stage and exhibition designs. So it's a big range, but it's not really about focusing on like a specific design, like a product range for me. It's more about bringing my values, my style, and my design principles into every project. So the design process is something very unique to every person, I would say. And for me, I need a lot of constraints. So this means that I start with a very thorough analysis of first the project brief, of course, what the client really wants or think he wants, and then I do a lot of research on products. So what has been done, and also what I think could be done. And so yeah, this is kind of how I determine like my playing field and the rules that I want to play by. And then, so this is very analytic. Then comes this more free moment where I just let go and I just get inspired, look at everything that I like and start drawing. And this can really go into fields that are very different from the thing that I'm actually doing. So it can have nothing in common with the product that I'm working on. So then I narrow it down again. So I decide on a few roads that I want to take that I think the product could go down on, and then I start to develop sketches. I do a lot of writing, also 3D modeling, and I love to do like small paper prototypes. So I love to work it out with my hands as well. It's a different way just of getting it out. And yeah, I would say it's kind of like this yo-yo effect from there on. So it's all about like having crazy ideas and then bringing them down to earth again. And this actually works a lot with client meetings, of course, material tests, and also me just looking out of the window and just like visualizing the design, the production, and also the use it will have. But it's a lot of staring, like, yeah, and people around me thinking I'm not doing anything, but it's actually where most of it happens. So yeah, that's like my design process. But then of course comes the step where it's pretty much everything is pretty much decided on with the client, and then it's sent off to the producer for a prototype, or for simpler products like even just immediately for production. And yeah, we do, for a lot of products that we develop, also carry out part of the production. And for example, for the room divider that we have, the final assembly is done by hand. It's actually stitched by hand, and
Wow.
then we also work on a lot of one-offs for clients. Yeah, and then for projects for clients that are meant for sale, they of course then take care of the next step, which is the launch of the product, and we just hand the project over by then. For those that we design for our own use, we then take care of those steps ourselves. So that means we have to design the packaging, order it, take product photos, put everything into the web shop, look for shops to sell. So there's a lot more to it then. Yeah, and I guess, of course, what you want to hear and what is, of course, very important is then to also take care of the intellectual property part of the products. And this is always a big topic, and it's very different from one project to another.
Yeah, this is what obviously Ideas Powered we are passionate about, not just powering your ideas, but of course protecting them. I mean, considering that in the EU alone, 85,000 designs are registered a year, how important is it during the process that you do focus on the protection side of things? And are there certain areas of the process where it's particularly important, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, it is super important, and I'm happy that I learned this at an early stage, and that I always had people around me also that I could exchange with, because it is complex, and as I said, it really differs a lot from one project to the next. But I would like to say that I think there's in two main things where it is important, because it's actually important from the start when you start designing something. Because I mean, of course, a designer wants to see his own designs protected, but I also think that he has a huge responsibility to try not to infringe on someone else's rights. Yeah, there's like this great book by Austin Kleon. I don't know if I'm saying this name correctly, but it's called
Yeah,
Steal
another
Like.
one.
Yeah, I really love this one. It's very short, it's very concise, but it's I don't know, it really spoke to me. So steal like an artist. So what he's saying is that we are naturally influenced by what we see around us. And I mean, of course, similar ideas can just develop in two minds on other parts of the world at pretty much the same time. But there is this responsibility to know what is going on, what is being developed, and really try not to make something that is similar to something that has been done. So to really try to make the design clearly distinctive. So I would really like to stress this difference between being inspired and copying, like deliberately copying, but just be on the lookout. And I think that there really always needs to be respect for every original design, if it's protected or not. It's super important. And yeah, then there's this actual protecting your design part. So when you create something original, it is immediately covered by copyright protection, and the designer always stays the creator of his design. So that's important to know. But then, of course, when you're working with a client, and you sometimes have to go beyond that, and when you're working with a client, you give away some of your rights, like in the framework that you negotiate with him. And this really determines how the product will be protected, and in whose name. And of course, the nature of the product. I do not develop technical novelties. I'm not an inventor per se. So I never had to file for a patent. But what I do is I have a lot of registered community designs. Like that's what usually is what is important to a product designer who's doing similar things to me. So for one example, one example of a soft toy that I designed for a children's village. I
Yeah.
actually, yeah, it's like a very cute pillow kind of thing that we started creating also in a workshop with the kids. Like they didn't know what we wanted to do. We just spoke about what they needed when they were scared. So it was a very nice project that started with the kids, and out of it came like this cute toy cushion thing. And so I just protected it naturally on my side, and they just wanted to produce a certain amount of it. So we agreed on a fee for this. And then during this process, we also did some drawings for the label, and that would go on the soft toy because they also wanted to give them away. And then they actually decided that this should become their mascot, and so the project changed. And then we had never talked about this. We had to negotiate a buyout so that they could use both the soft toy as much as they wanted and in different countries, as well as the drawings. So we then arranged for an official transfer of the rights to this organization. Yeah.
Right.
So
It's I think this is an interesting example, the soft toy, because that ended amicably, and it was actually you were bought out and you were rewarded correctly for the creative work that you did.
yeah,
But I'm
and
curious to know. Sorry, Julie. I'm curious to know because a lot of the designers who follow us, they've had issues where potentially their creative work has been taken without their consent. So is that something that's happened to you previously, or how would you deal with that?
yeah, it does happen. Generally, I would always say that it's important to talk about usage rights from the start with the clients so that they're not all surprised all of a sudden, because it is a topic where people are not always informed. And so it's important to raise it from the start. I do have one like bigger example that I had that was also very frustrating to me and where I learned a lot. So I have this furniture piece where I had I had it protected with a registered community design. And then I received an email by a friend telling me, hey, I just saw that one major furniture brand, I'm not going to name names, but the main furniture brand just presented a product that looks quite similar. So it had visual similarities, and it was made of a different material, and it was also in a different price range, but still. So I guess what's important to know is that when you're protecting a design, it does not mean that you're protecting every detail of it. It can actually be counterproductive. Like it can go against your protection because it can be a loophole where a copycat can more easily just change something, and then your protection will actually not work anymore. So it's a difficult task to determine what part of design should be protected, that is original and is worthy of protection. And also, of course, has not been covered by an existing design by someone else yet. So yeah, I like to discuss this with experts in intellectual property before and have them file it, or then afterwards file it myself. So what happened here is that we had protected the product overall, its visual aspect and the way it is used, because that's linked in this one. And yeah, this product that was supposed to come out, it looked very much alike. So I was advised to send them a cease and desist letter, which I did. And just because if it came onto the market, even if it was in some things different, it could have had an impact on our sales. So I was advised to do so, and I did. And I did think that it would be hard to really keep them from launching the product. But in a way, I just thought, okay, but there will be a conversation, and maybe they will just acknowledge that the initial design was mine, and maybe even pay royalties on it. That's what I was hoping for. And then, yeah, long story short, what actually happened is that they came at us with the big guns. I got a big letter with where they had dug up, like, there were several things, but one of them was they dug up an old patent on something that had a totally different use but looked a bit alike. And what they basically said is, if you don't stop bothering us, we will make sure that this makes your protection void and that will not be able to sell yours anymore. And yeah, so what does
Wow.
a designer do?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
and
that, yeah. Go on,
yeah,
Julie.
there's still like the ending to the story is that, I don't know, weirdly and wonderfully, this product actually never made it onto the shelves in Europe. Well, not to my knowledge.
Oh,
So, but I will never know if I had anything to do with it or not. But yeah.
I think that, I mean, that is a cautionary tale, and I think it's important that as young designers that we don't get too scared of larger companies. And what the key takeaway for me from that story is that understanding protection is key, understanding what you can protect, what is original, and this whole debate between imitation and originality. I think the thing that you said, which really stuck for me there, is you always like to get IP expert knowledge. So a lot of us don't have that knowledge ourselves. So what I can say, quick plug for our website, check it out if you're new to intellectual property and you're a designer wanting to protect your products and understand a little bit more about it. We'll put some links in the comments below. So yeah, I think that's a great key takeaway, Julie, for budding designers to understand their IP. But just in general, if you were just starting out again and you could go back a few years to when you were just a design student tinkering it in your bedroom, what kind of key tips and tricks would you have for the next generation of designers who do want to follow in your footsteps?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's funny because pretty much the first time I really heard about protecting my designs was when I was presenting my master's project. So last year of university, fifth year, just before graduation, I was presenting before a jury that had professional designers in it. And when I had finished, they all started talking about, like, you should protect this, like you need to do this and this and this. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, but how do I do this? So it was actually not spoken about enough during my studies, but followed right after. So yeah, I'll keep this one short. So what I would say is, do protect your designs whenever you can, because it's your value. It's the value that you created. It belongs to you. You should protect it if it's original, of course. Then a second thing is to show your work. Do not hide it in a drawer because you're scared that someone will copy it. Because having people see your design is actually a protection too. So just get it out there. And if you want to file for an official protection, it's a complex topic, but just, yeah, talk to professionals, talk to the people that are in your field. And for example, in Luxembourg, we have IPIL, and they do offer free advice. And I think there are organizations like that in most countries. And I actually talked to them a lot at the beginning until I really started understanding how it works. So yeah, EU IPO is there as well, right, Steve?
Absolutely, always. I mean, if you've got any questions straight off the back of this video, feel free to slide into our DMs. We're always open to talk or make some comments on the video below. Before we go, Julie, because we're running out of time, I do want to talk to you about your native homeland, because Luxembourg sometimes is a little bit overlooked considering its size within the EU, but I know there's some really cool design projects going on there. So give us a little bit of excitement about what's happening closer to you.
Sure. So yeah, Luxembourg is a tiny country, and the world of design is also tiny. But there are a lot of things happening now. We have a creative industries cluster that's just started a few years ago that really, yeah, start projects. They had a Circular by Design challenge last year where I was part of, and also won in a category. So there's a lot of energy put into making new products and the industry greener and more sustainable and circular if possible. Then we have Kultur LX, so it's a cultural organization that gives out grants to artists but also to designers. This is very new as well. Our Ministry of Culture is really trying to get this going. And yeah, then we have a pavilion at Expo Dubai 2020, which is now happening 2021. And starting in October, and I will also be exhibiting there for 2 weeks in January with an installation made of 3D printed objects made of Luxembourgish soil.
Cool. Well, congrats to Luxembourg for leading the way and pioneering young designers. I think long may it continue, and I know there's some great projects across the EU going on. So keep an eye out on our channels for more information about that. Julie, I just want to say good luck, firstly, for all your projects coming up in Dubai and in Luxembourg. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It was really nice talking to you.
Great. And everyone at home, I just wish you the best of luck. If you are a budding designer, don't be scared. Keep creating, get your designs out there. And perhaps we'll be speaking to you on Powered Up Festival in a few years' time. Thanks, everyone, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.